Professor Diaz here, and in this video I'm going to give you an introduction to economic markets. An economic market, or a market, is an institution that brings buyers and sellers together. So over here I've put some buyers, and over here I've put some sellers. The market is an institution that brings the buyers and the sellers together. Okay, so there's all kinds of markets. You can have a supermarket, right? We call it a market. We call it a supermarket when you go to a store and you have the option to buy goods or services sometimes. And the supermarket, whether it's Fred Meyer or Yolks or something like that, has the opportunity to sell, right? Whenever you go to a market, part of being a market means that there has to be an arm's length transaction. So nobody's being forced to make a purchase or a sale. It's an arm's length transaction. We call it a willing buyer and a willing seller. That's what it needs to be a market, right? A flea market, of course, is a market. The internet hosts a lot of markets, right? The internet has all kinds of institutions that bring buyers and sellers together. For example, eBay and Craigslist are examples of markets. Really, the whole internet could kind of be considered a market, right? Because it's bringing people, buyers and sellers together. When they come together, they're all subject to what's called the price system. In our economy, we use prices. The price system is what signals the seller's willingness to sell and the buyer's willingness to buy, right? So if you're on Craigslist and you say, I'd like to buy, or I'd like to sell my bike for $1,000, and somebody comes and says, well, I'll give you $200 for it. There's not going to be a transaction because they only want to pay $200 and you want to sell it for $1,000. There may be some bartering, and if you can willingly get down to an agreeable price through the price system, then you can make a transaction in that market, right? There needs to be a willing buyer and a willing seller. Neither one of them can be forced. This is the idea of arm's length transaction, and it's essential to markets. Basically, that people have the freedom to buy what they want to buy, right? We have some amount of wealth, some amount of resources, and when we go to the grocery store or Craigslist or anywhere else, we have the option to pay for the things we want, and we don't have to buy the things we don't want, right? And likewise, whether you're a business or an individual, you can sell the things you want, and you don't have to sell the things you don't want. This is the beauty of a market because, and we call it a free market, right? A free market is where everybody's free to buy and sell what they want for the price they want. And we're going to get way more into this concept in the rest of this chapter and even really the rest of this class. But I wanted to get this basic video out there to introduce some key terms and introduce the basic concept of a market.